another just outdoing himself with the beast. Dane, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you guys?
It's so good to see you.
It's good to see you guys too.
We've
I mean, I guess I saw you at the Senior Bowl, but we didn't get a chance to chat for too long. So yeah, it's been a while.
Now you got the beast out. Then this week, I imagine, has been like nonstop interviews. You got to be at the end of the line. How you feeling? How's the energy level?
A lot of cough drops. A lot of try to keep the throat going. Okay. But yeah, it's been. But you know what? I love it because once that guide comes out, it's the feedback is so much fun to people love it. People have a question about why was this player ranked here or whatever. I mean, I love talking the process of where I came with my rankings and my evaluations. How other people feel about these players, all the background stuff, all the pro day testing. So yeah, it's been fun to chat about it here over the last week.
Go ahead.
Before we get to the questions, two things I just wanted to add, Dane. It's good to see you. I appreciate. There's one guy I wanted to make sure was in the beast, and he's in there, and that's Diago Hunter from Towson, who's 5'3" and 161 pounds. And I said, Dane, you're the best evaluator out there, but you got to give love to the short guys. And I was thrilled to see that he came in as your 136th running back. That meant a lot to me on behalf of the short guy community. And then the second thing is just another compliment to you. There was a period of like a few weeks when I kept saying to Bo, we got to start our position previews. We got to start our position previews. And Bo was like, we need to wait for the beast to come out. Like there are certain positions where we need the beast for all the standardized data. So that shows you our show in a certain respect was built around your workload. We appreciate that.
Well, it's also
awesome. That's awesome.
Like the beast is amazing on so many different levels. I mean, the accumulation of the data is one, your expertise and how you view these guys. And then also, obviously, like all of the background that you've done. And I wonder do you ever cluster guys because you like the connectivity? Because there's a back-to-back section of the corners that is probably my favorite in terms of information. You've got Elijah Jones, the cornerback from Boston College, super athlete, a little bit older. And we start here with Elijah Jones. His father is a hip hop artist known as DJ Alamo, who is in the group Brand Nubian, and his mother is a model who was the first black model at L'Oreal Paris. What an unbelievable story. And then you go to the next guy, Dwight McLuthern from Arkansas, and his nickname is Nudie.
Yeah. Where else are you going to find that information except the beast? I take a lot of pride in digging up all these little factoids, and it's just fun because it's my favorite part of this whole thing is learning about the journey of these guys and where they came from. Because everyone's different. Everyone has their own journey to get to this point in the process, the NFL doorstep. And it's some of these guys it's so unique, whether they were basketball focused athlete most of their lives, their family situations, all of them have a story to tell, and being able to give some type of summary about each one of these guys' background is, hopefully I do a lot of these guys justice in terms of some of the factoids and stuff. But yeah, it's been the last 18 months really collecting all that data, all that info. And so it takes a long time, but yeah, the end product is so worth it.
Go ahead.
I have a corner question, but I'm going to pair it with another question I have to make it more effective for your time and also for the listeners here. And that's, you have a 7-round mock draft that came out in addition to the beast, and you have the Eagles taking Amarius Mims at 22. And the cornerback part of this is that the very next pick is Cooper DeJean. And then 2 picks after that or thereabouts is Nate Wiggins. So you have a scenario here where Amarius Mims is on the board and then Cooper DeJean and Nate Wiggins are on the board. And there are Eagles fans who are saying, like, they need a corner. They need a guy who can play day one. We've been saying their trend shows you that they always valued the line of scrimmage. So the way I'm going to frame the question is this. Where is that drop-off after Mitchell and Arnold, after Quinion Mitchell and Terrion Arnold, that you think the Eagles wouldn't push the cornerback spot, that it wouldn't be DeJean, that it wouldn't be Wiggins when there's an attractive offensive tackle on the board?
Yeah, and I think the answer to that is different for every team because after those top two guys, you're looking at, a guy like Nate Wiggins who is super talented. You love the speed, you love the athleticism, but he's rail thin. The lack of play strength is really a problem for some teams. So that is something that you worry about with Wiggins. With Cooper DeJean, it's a different set of issues where it's okay. I feel great about him being a corner, being a safety, being a nickel, being this versatile player. He's a big time athlete, but can he? If I want only an outside corner, is he worthy of the 22nd pick? And the answer to that is it's different for a lot of teams. They look at it very differently. So I would not. I haven't started working on my final mock draft yet. There's a decent shot that Cooper DeJean could be in there at 22 to the Eagles. It certainly makes sense. But to your point, this is a team that likes to build in the trenches, and they are not afraid to draft for the future, draft a year ahead of time. And instead of waiting until we have the need, we're going to invest in the position. So when that need pops up, okay, we've got a guy ready to hit the ground running. And that certainly could be, especially if they have a high grade on Amarius Mims. Mims is the most fascinating player of this draft. You're talking about 8 starts, but a guy that's the traits are off the charts. It's going to be looked at very differently by each team because it's, again, do you want the body of work? Absolutely. But at a certain point in the first round, I think every team is going to be like, okay, enough's enough. Let's pull the trigger on this Amarius Mims because 3 years from now, he could be the best tackle from this class. So where is that spot for the Eagles? If he makes it to 22, it might be tough for them to pass on him, regardless of the rest of those corners that are available.
The way that we were sort of framing this a few minutes before you joined us, Dane, was like, let's just presume that you want a tackle and a corner, and you're looking at what's a better pairing. Woodpecker you rather, as we like to say, have, call it, Amarius Mims and Max Melton, or Cooper DeJean and Roger Rosengarten?
And that is a really, I think, smart way to look at it because this offensive tackle class, I think it drops off. I get why people say it's a strong position because it's top heavy. I don't think it's a deep position. And there's a lot of teams that need tackles. And so where are they picking in 50 in the second round?
50 and 53,
there's no guarantee that Rosengarten or Patrick Paul or Kingsley Suamataia, Blake Fisher, like that next tier of tackles who are more developmental guys, but there's no guarantee they make it that far just because so many teams do need tackles and they're going to get pushed up because if you don't get your tackle early, you're not going to love your options, in rounds 2, rounds 3, rounds 4. So there is a realistic possibility that the Eagles get to their second round pick and, obviously they've got ammo. They could trade up if they want, but you'd rather not do that. Corner will stretch. It is a deep position this year. And so I think that ideally you want to draft your highest rated player in the first round, regardless of how the rest of the draft plays out. It's why you do all the scouting. It's why you stick to your board, but you can't help but look, towards the second round, third round and beyond as you try to map it out. And I think that could play a part because again, I think tackle does fall off.
We discussed tiers quite a bit on the show. Are Terry and Arnold and Quinion Mitchell in a tier of their own at the cornerback spot?
In my opinion, they are. Terry and Arnold, you want corners who compete and are really sticky cover guys. He has that. Now he ran a 4.50 at the 40-yard dash at the combine. That's going to be an issue for some teams that really value stopwatch speed at that position. And there are several teams that do. But I also talked to a scout who was at his pro day and said it was one of the best cornerback pro days he ever saw. It's just in terms of the positional drills. So the 40-yard dash might not look great for a player you're going to draft in the top 15, top 20, but the positional stuff was so good that I think you're willing to overlook the lack of the deep speed because you can throw on the tape and here and there maybe he will lose a rep vertically, but it doesn't happen a lot. But what does happen is he is able to stay connected on underneath routes. He's able to you want to play press, you want to play off. The compete level skills are off the charts. And so with Terry and Arnold, I just think, he's actually my corner one. And I'm sticking with it, even though I love Quinion Mitchell. He's been kind of my guy since the summer, and he's just kind of up. His draft arrow is just nonstop upward trajectory. With him, it's just kind of check all the boxes, right? I mean, athleticism, size, strength, the tape, the ball production is like, what, 46 passes defended the last 2 years? Crazy production. And yeah, okay, he played in the MAC, but then you watch go watch him at the Senior Bowl, and he's clearly the best player on the field. So it's like, okay, goes to the combine, looks great, tests great. We're just checking all the boxes with Quinyon Mitchell. So yeah, I think both these guys belong in that top tier.
How about on day 2? You talk about cornerback stretching. Who are your favorite guys at corner on day 2?
Yeah, you mentioned Max Melton. He's definitely on that list. Mikey Sainristil from Michigan, who will be dinged because he's undersized, 5'9", 185 pounds. Former wide receiver who made the move to corner. Has only been playing corner 2 years. He played in high school, but at the college level only played the past 2 years in the secondary. But he is such a smart football player. The football instincts, the anticipation. He understands what the offense is trying to do, and then he stops it. He makes a play consistently over and over and over. And at some point, it's just like, okay, the coincidences are just, it's a lot of coincidences that he's always in the right spot at the right time. So Mikey Sainristil, even if he is a nickel only, he's one of my guys in the second round. And then, Andrew Phillips too, Kentucky. Another guy that some teams will view as maybe a nickel only. I think he has inside-outside versatility. Not the biggest guy, 5'11", 190. And he's a little bit the opposite of Sainristil because he doesn't have that ball production. He didn't have an interception in college. And those smaller guys without ball production are usually tough for me. I have a tough time getting past those guys. But with Phillips, his tape was so good with the movements, with the way he covers. And it was the same thing at the Senior Bowl, where receivers had a hard time getting away from him. So I think both those guys, somewhere in round 2, they're both going to come off the board. And I think we can talk about length all day. Let's just give me the good football players. And I think both Sainristil and Andrew Phillips, they definitely qualify.
We're going to have, Zach and I are going to have a little hash out on Mikey Sainristil in a little bit, but go ahead.
I mean, this is great on corners. If I could pivot back while we have your attention
we don't
here.
get Dane for
we don't get Dane
too often,
because we were talking about tackles a few moments ago, and something that comes up quite a bit is tackles with guard versatility. You talked about corners who can play inside. Who are the tackles that you think could profile as as starting guards from the jump, and then could potentially move over to right tackle when Lane Johnson retires?
Yeah, I think if you're looking with that the first round pick, J.C. Latham from Alabama, he was a right tackle only, but I think it's not a stretch to say he could move inside the guard, and who knows, that might be his best position. Same thing with Talise Fuaga. There are some teams that have him on the board as a guard around the league. I think more teams have him on the board as a right tackle, but there are several teams that believe he is a guard. That's his best position at the next level. And so it's not that he can't play tackle, it's just they believe that his strengths best suited inside a guard. But I do think that he can hold up especially on the right side where he's just more comfortable. That one makes a ton of sense. Troy Fautanu from Washington, he might have 5-position versatility. He was a left tackle, but also played guard. He has the movement skills, the length, where he can stay outside, but aesthetically, he looks like a tackle. He looks like an interior guy. So Fautanu definitely on that short list as well. What are the chances one of those 3 guys falls out of the top 20? I think that's tough. That's maybe the question mark. Do the Eagles have to trade up if they want to get one of those guys? I think the answer is probably yes.
One other position I want to ask you about, Dane, is wide receiver. We sort of expect the Eagles are going to add somebody at some point here. Give me 2 types: your favorite mid or late round guy who is a downhill speedster, and your favorite same area guy who is more of a slot guy, because we don't know what the Eagles are going to go for, but it's probably going to be one of those 2.
Yeah, and I think so. We're talking, 3rd round, 4th round. Devontae Walker from North Carolina, he's that vertical presence. I mean, how far does he fall? Probably goes somewhere in that 3rd round. But he's raw because his routes, the hands. There's a lot of areas of his game that you kind of worry about, and that might push him to day 3. So if he were there in the 4th round, I think that Devontae Walker makes a ton of sense. Malik Washington from Virginia.
I like everyone.
Yeah, and every year somebody gets compared to Steve Smith, right? And it's always ludicrous. But if we're gonna do it, okay, if we have to choose someone in this class who is gonna fit that profile, it's Malik Washington. 5'8.5", 190. so competitive, both before the catch and then after the catch. Down the field, his ability to adjust to the football. And I liked him on tape, but seeing him live at East West Shrine Bowl practices and seeing him adjust these balls, it was like, okay, yeah, I'm not high enough on this guy with the way he is playing. So I believe he should be a top 100 player. Good chance he's still available in the 4th round. But I could see him working both inside and outside, where it gives you that vertical presence on the outside, but can also work underneath and be a yak player. So yeah, this receiver class is pretty deep. We're going to see these guys go early, 3 in the top 10. We're going to see 2 or 3 more go in the 1st round, and then they're going to start flying off the board in rounds 2, rounds 3. Even though it's deep, teams they want to get their guy, and so we're going to see a lot of receivers drafted over the course of the 3 days.
Last one from me here. I know you're primarily scouting, but you're also forecasting as well when you do this. You know how he likes to trade up. He's done it these past few years. Who are the teams in the teens that, just as you look at it, would be interested in trading back, or that could be flexible to trade back?
Seattle at 16. My 7-round mock just came out on The Athletic, and originally I had the Eagles trading up to 16 to get one of those offensive linemen, whether it was Latham or Fuaga or Fautanu. The Seahawks always love to move back. That's their MO. And so that one makes a ton of sense. But at the end of the day, I decided to stay put. You take Mims. I think you feel good about what Mims could be. But if we see them maybe move up a little bit, it wouldn't be surprising, because like you said, we know they like to do that. They're not shy being aggressive for the right player. And so this is a draft where they've got a little bit of ammo, and if they try to flex a little bit and use it, it wouldn't be too surprising, because we're going to see these offensive linemen fly off the board in the top 20, and they might not feel confident about who's going to be left for them at 22.
Dane, you've been very generous with your time. I have a 1-sentence question for you here, because we have a super chat about Isaac Guerendo. Guerendo or Audric Estime, who do you like better?
I think it depends what you want. Estime is a little higher ranked in my rankings, but with Guerendo, he gives you, I think, a little bit more as a return man. Especially with the new kick return rules, he's someone that could play a part. He's a legit 4.3 guy, speedster. So if you're looking for more juice to your offense as a complementary back, then that's your guy. If you're looking for a little more thunder as opposed to the lightning, then you're looking at Audric Estime, who is just a mini Hulk with how built he is. So an Estime is a little more reliable because he's 20 years old and coming off a career year. Guerendo played 6 years in college and has trouble staying healthy. So I think it just depends on what your exactly type of role you're looking for, and then just how risky you want to be with the pick.
I mean, not just like putting all of the information together, but being able to recall it for whoever you're asked about for all of these interviews. It's just, it's hard to beat Dane Brugler. Dane, thank you so much.
You guys are too nice. I appreciate it.
All right. Check out The Beast on The Athletic, and check out Dane at DP Brugler on Twitter. Dane is the man. Thank you so much, Dane.
Appreciate it.
Take care, guys.
We all silly like the mayor.